the assignment, due this week, we have covered everything you need to know except we need more on relative links. Okay, remember that Roberto reminded me that relative links are more complicated in the assignment than we covered on Monday. Okay? We should also cover email links because it's just a topic we need to cover, but it's not applicable to this assignment. We might get in the future. And we need to cover figure and fig caption because those are two tags we just didn't cover from the chapter. And I think that's everything. So, does anyone think there's more that you need to know to complete assignment 2 and want to review that even? You can review things. The last shot at, yes? Okay. Want to review the fave icon. Can do that. Anything else? How many of you have started the assignment? Pretty promising. Mr. Hyatt, did you have a question? Well, when I'm in the relative links, I'm going to be hitting that really hard. Okay, so we definitely need to work on that. Maury was in the lab yesterday struggling with that, reminding me how much we need to work on that. Good for him. All right, and if you've submitted your assignment without me looking at it, then I have a sad face. Because I told you it would be wise for me to look at it. Because you might think you're perfect and you're not, and I could help you to be perfect. Right, Chance? Chance wants to be perfect. One of the principles of success in computer technology classes is get the good grades early because it doesn't get easier. It gets harder. So you want every assignment and every quiz to be as close to perfect as you can in these early weeks. Right. Okay, let me also discuss before I hit these topics, grading of assignments. I attempt to grade assignments all day Saturday. But I'm out of town this weekend, so I'm not sure I'm going to get to it. You will know when your assignment has been graded because you will get a grade in the grade book. You'll recall that the assignment you had week 1 had you go into the grade book and find your grades for those 2 quizzes. That was my attempt to get you to see there's a grade book, and it has your grades when they're entered. With quizzes, they're entered the moment you finish the quiz because the computer's grading it. With assignments, I'm grading it, and when I'm finished, I'll type in the grade. So you don't need to ask me if I've graded the assignments yet. That just bothers me. I'll type it in the minute I have. Okay? Now, that's the Blackboard gradebook. That's where you're going to find the grades. Second thing you need to know about graded assignments is when I'm done, I'll hand them back in the next class. So let's say I get them done next Tuesday, I'll give them to you Wednesday. If you're not in class, or if you are a 032 student, I will place them in the file cabinet at the front of 1126. And you will ask the faculty member in the lab to get it for you. Don't go digging in the cabinet yourself. Because we don't want you looking at everybody else's papers. That's considered a violation of privacy. And yes, okay. So you just ask whoever's in there to get it for you. Yes, Whitney. Is Whitney asking me about a topic to review while I'm going over grading assignments after I ask for all topics? Sorry. Okay. Would you like me to add to the topic something? Tell me, Whitney, what you want. You don't need to know that this week. I've given you all the images. You don't need to know how to get an image smaller or how to make it smaller. I've given you all the images you need in the zip archive. And we do, Whitney, have a chapter on images later, and I'll cover that then. Okay? All right. Oh, the grading of assignments. The grading scale for assignments is 1 to 10. Not, well, I should say 0 to 10. You could make it 0 if you don't turn it in, or don't turn in part of it. Not 0 to 100, 0 to 10. Now, there are enough assignments that when you're at the end of the semester, that equates to an average. If you do all the assignments perfectly, your average in the assignments column at the end of the semester will be 100. So you'll be able, I actually like this because you're able to kind of keep up with where you are. If you've done 2 assignments perfectly, then what would be in the grade column? A 20 as the total. All right? So if you get a 10, Atticus, don't send me an email and panic saying, only 10 points? That's perfect. Good for you. Y'all ever seen that kind of grading scale that's weird? Okay. All right, and I will write all over your papers in the best handwriting I have, which is terrible. It's like my typing, so you'll probably have to ask me what it says. All right. Anyone want to add any other topics for review? Okay. Oh, you got one, Tamara? That's going to be part of the links. That's what everybody wants to know. I get that. All right, I'm going to cover FIG and FIG caption first because it's kind of easy and it's sort of separated from all this business about links and paths. So I'm going into the slides to find that. To the Chapter 2 slides. All right. New with HTML5 are a couple of semantic elements for identifying what they call self-contained content. It could be an illustration, a chart, a diagram, code snippet, but it also could be just a picture. That might be a figure for you. Now, why would you add the figure when you already had the IMG? There are 2 possible reasons you might add the figure, and the first one is so that you could add an associated caption to the picture. So if for our little pumpkin picture we wanted to put underneath it, Halloween is great, or orange pumpkins are the best, then we have a FIG caption tag we could add, but only if we did figure as well. They go together, all right? If you don't plan to add a caption, you don't need to do figure. The second reason you might add figure is for CSS. I keep talking about CSS. You might want to use CSS to style all of your pictures, charts, diagrams in a certain way, and then you could associate that CSS with figure versus trying to associate it with all the individual tags that came into play. So when we get to CSS, we can keep that in mind. All right. Now they have an example here. This is a little hard to see. I'll zoom in for you. Oops. Wants to go to the next page. There's a picture of a lighthouse, and then down below it is a caption which says something lighthouse built in 1870. right? How did that little caption get below the picture? Well, it got there by using a figure with a fig caption. So here's the figure semantic tag. Here's the closing figure. In between the two figure tags, I have an image or IMG tag for the lighthouse JPEG picture. And then the caption that is below, apparently it said Island Lighthouse, is introduced through the fig caption set. Does that make sense? So if you need a caption, then that's a great thing to do. And for years, web developers were doing all kinds of crazy things to make that happen. And so finally, the W3C said, let's give them a figure with a caption associated. Okay. All right, let's move on to links, because links are confusing to you, I know. Actually, I think we'll start with images, because that's got a path. I just added it. Just got you. Okay, right, good. The image tag has a source attribute, SRC, which is the path to the picture. So if I have an image element, I'm going to have a source with a path. What does that path say? It says, from the location of the page this image tag is in other words, the same location, go down into the images folder. That's why it says images, right? Find cake.gif. So we call that going down in the hierarchy. If we look in the website root folder that I'm using, this is my root folder right here. If I go down, it's the same thing as going in with a double click, and there's my images folder. If you'd like to see it so it looks more like going down, I will show it to you on the folders pane of Window Explorer. There's the second web page folder. When I expand it, you can see that it's going down into the images folder. Make sense? If I made another folder inside images, let's just suppose I make another folder inside images, and I call it folder 2, and I put something in folder 2, then I'm going to have to go down again. Down. So, as I said, from the location of the page this image tag is in, that's the home page. It was in the second web page folder right here. From this location, second web page folder, go down or go into images, find, in our case it was cake.jpg. Do you understand how to go down? If you wanted to go down into this new folder 2, maybe we put the cake in there, you would need to put folder 2 and another slash. Folders and files are separated with forward slashes in what we call the path. If there was another folder, you'd need that name and another slash. That's going down. Most people do well going down once they get used to it. It's going up that's confusing. Cameron, I think you were asking about the dot dots. That's going up. We're going to get that in a minute. All right? Let's hesitate and go back to look at favicon. Someone asked to review the favicon. The favicon is a link tag in the head. One of its 3 required attributes is href equals. So for the link, you have href equals favicon. What does that say? There's no folder there, so it says in the same location of the page, this link is in find favicon.gif. Pardon? ICO. What I meant. Right? Now, what if I put the favicon into the images folder because the directions say to do that? This is looking for the favicon in the same location the page is in. In our example, the index is at the root. So I would have to add images / Now it says basically the same thing. From the location of the page this link is in, go down into the images folder, find favicon.ico. Still going down. So that was link. I'll add this. This was the image with the source. This was the link for the favicon. Then the other tag we want is the anchor tag, which creates links in the body to other locations, pages. All right. If we have in our website root folder another page that is at the same folder level as our index page, we could create an href equals for another page.html, which says in the same location of the page this anchor is in, find another page.html. Okay? If I change this, if I move this page to a subfolder of the root folder, maybe I move it to folder 3, then I'm going to have to put folder 3 first, a / and the file name. And then I will have changed it to say, in the same location of the page this anchor is in, go down into the folder 3 folder, find another page.html. Look inside folder 3. I've lost my mind. I have another folder. You will no doubt think I'm going to name folder 4. Then I would have to put folder 3, folder 4. Then it would say, in the same location of the page this anchor is in, go down into folder 3. Then go down into folder 4, find another page.html. So when you're in Windows Explorer, if you can see the path of the folders, it does help. In all of these examples, I was referencing index.html, which is in the root folder. The trouble comes when things aren't in the root folder, and I start to make my links to favicons, my anchors to other pages. I try to get my pictures to show up, because if it's not in the root folder, then this same location that the page is in, that location has changed. I might have to go up. Okay. Are we good, though, with going down? All right, so let's do going up. I think that's how you spell hierarchy. Definitely. Going up the hierarchy to create relative links or paths. I think what I will do is I will create another folder to put Mr. Other Page in here. You know what, I think I'll just move folder 2. All right, now I have folder 2 inside of the root folder, and I'm going to put another page in there. It will be easy for you to get to another page. I'm sure you can process that. I'm in the root folder. I have to go down to folder 2. There's another page. That's easy. Yeah? But where are the pictures? And where's the home page? To describe that as they are back up the hierarchy. Not down anymore. If another page is in folder 2, I've got to go back up here to the index or images folder. So I'm going to have to go from this location up to the root folder. When I get up there, then I will go down, if I need to, into another folder or the images folder. All right? So we're here. We want a picture to show up here. The picture is in the images folder. The images folder is at the same level, we would say. This is represented on page 107 in your book. It's at the same level as folder 2, but you can't go across. There's no going across the road. You have to go back up and then down. So I'm going to have to go from folder 2 up to the second web page folder and then down to images. I need a way to go up. The way to go up is to use ... /. That means go up. Okay? So this is go up to the folder above. If I put ... /... then I would be go up to the folder above and then up again to the folder above that folder. Just keep going up. It's like steps, kind of like steps. So this is a way to go up. Now once you get up, you're going to have to go back down many times. If I want to link from another page to the home page, and I know the home page is in the root folder, which is one level up from folder 2, I will go up once and I will be able to see the index. If I want to go from folder 2 to place a picture on the page, let's think about what I have to do. Well, the pictures are not here, and there's not an images folder in here. So I'm going to have to go up to the root folder and then go down into the images folder. Got it? So in our example, we have the root folder. It has index.html. folder named Images and a folder named Folder 2. Inside of the Images folder, we have HTML.jpg, no, pic.jpg, and HTML icon.ico. What's inside folder 2? Yep, that's another page.html. Right? Put a picture on another page.html. Go up to the root. That will be .. Go down into Images folder. That will be Images / add file name, which could be htmlpic.jpg. Here's the path. img src equals, what's going to be first? Go up, .. Now I'm at the root. Go down into the Images folder. Images / Then I can see what's in there. htmlpic.jpg is right there. See how it works? Okay. To link to home page from, or let's put on another page.html. Is the home page in the same folder as another page? Is it in a folder below? It's in a folder up. So go up to the root. Now I'm at the root. Is the page there? Yes. So then we will add the file name. What is the file name for all home pages? Index.html. Path, therefore, would be anchor href equals up. I'm there. Index.html. Are you getting it? Yes. Right, so Sierra says, so if you have to go up 2 folders, you're going to do 2 .. slashes. Yes. Go up as many as you wish, and then you go down. Well, you wouldn't go down and then go back up. You're either sort of going up and down, or you're going down. We never go up and down and up. We just don't. We're trying to get someplace. It's either at the level we're at, in the folder we're at, or we have to go up and go back down. Yes, sir? Did I put .. when I went up here? Did I put a folder name there? No, that just got me up to that previous folder in the hierarchy, the higher one. This folder name is required because I wanted to go what? Down into that folder. How we doing? Yes, ma'am. That's not what he said. He said, I think, that we don't need a folder name unless we're going down. Then you said we don't need a file name. It's 2 different things. we're generally going to need a file name all the time, right? We're trying to get to a picture. We're trying to get to a fav icon. We're trying to get to a so that file name, we're always going to need a file name at the end. But we might not need a folder name because that dot dot implies going up to the folder above us. Yeah. If you added the folder name in, it'd be like going back down, and there's not a folder. Do you understand what I mean? You go up to the root, and then you put the root's name in. It's like, go up to the root. Oh, I don't see that I'm at the root, so I'm going to go down. Okay? And it references, again, what I said. We go up, and then we go down. We don't kind of go up and down. Sure, that makes no sense, that statement. But other questions? Yeah, well, we go up, and then we go down, but we don't go back up here. Now, there are a great many opportunities in assignment this week to do this. If you do them all wrong, you're going to get like a 6 out of 10. Because the point of web pages is to link to other web pages. That's the point of the Internet. I don't really just want one page. I want that page to allow me to get to another page and another page. That's how the Internet evolved. So if your pages look really good and none of the links work, the links to the pictures don't work, the links to the fav icons don't work, the links between the pages don't work, the best you're going to hope for is a 6, which is bad. How can you know if the fav icon link worked? You see the picture in the tab. So calling me over and saying, I know I have this path right for the fav icon. Why isn't it working? What am I going to say to you? You clearly don't have the path right. And we'll have to figure out what's wrong with your path. This link should work. Alexander and I were all about it last night. He was like, I know this link is right, but it doesn't work. And then later he said, the link didn't work and it did work. Okay? They'll work. You'll know right away. The picture will be displayed with an IMG. The links will go back and forth. If they don't, you have a bad path. Or you've misspelled a file name. Someone came to me in the lab, I apologize because I don't remember who it was, late last night, and said that their pictures were not showing up and they knew they had the right source property. I said, you don't. And I said, tell me what you've got. And she said, SRC equals image / whatever, pumpkin. Do you hear what's wrong with what she just told me? What was wrong? She didn't have the S. She named the folder images with an S, and the folder name she gave was image. And as soon as I said, didn't you name the folder images? She went, oh! And off she went. Yeah. You've got to get used to this. It's very precise. Now, this is where the business students always say to me, this is why I didn't want to be a computer major. I don't like this precision. But that is the way it is. Okay. You can't find it if you don't give it the path. That's a really thorough review of links. How are we with that now? Whenever you get confused, come back to this video again, because you may get confused, and here you have it. And I believe it's page 107 in your book as well. Has some examples. Okay. All right. Did that sort out the fav icon? Whoever wanted to go over that. Was that you, Tamara, wanted to do that again? Did that sort that out? Or was it not you? Who asked about the fav icon? Oh, sorry. Did that sort you out? Okay, good. All right. And how are we with links then? A lot of people asked about links. Think you can do it? I will look at it in the lab. It's on the schedule. I will look at it in the lab. We just did the hyperlinks. Every time I used an A, that was a hyperlink. Do you have another question along that line? No? Right. All right, so we haven't covered email links. I want to do that. And then I'm going to give you tips for success. Right? So email links, and then tips for success. Here are some examples also on slide 40 of what we were just talking about. And more. So those are some good examples. Here are examples where they're showing you the folder structure. So we have 2 levels in our folders, but at level 2, there are 3 folders, similar to what we're doing. So if I want to go from Canyon and grab a picture, I'm going to have to go up and then down to images. If I want to link Canyon to Weekend, I'm going to have to go up, down into events, and there's Weekend. So up and down. Okay? And you can see the up right here. Look, there's the up, and then down. I forgot about this, so we'll cover it right now. If you've ever opened a link and it opens in a new tab or a new window, that's because someone added target equals underscore blank. Underscore blank is called a magic target. Nothing magical about it, it's just what we call it. Underscore blank, all one word. That will open it in a new window. This is often done when someone's link is an absolute link to, for example, Yahoo or the college. You're jumping outside of their website into another one. The rules of accessibility for screen readers frown on this in a major way. Think about it. You can't see. The screen reader's reading to you everything on the page. You click a link, and you're not on the page you were on anymore. It's like someone just swapped it out. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, in accessibility universe, very much frowned upon. But you still see it a lot. Okay. All right, email links. It used to be very popular to configure email links into your web pages so that when someone hovered over your email or some other text, it would open up an email program with that to address. You could even configure the email href to include a subject and all kinds of things, a CC. This has fallen out of favor because people rarely use email clients on their desktop. Okay. How many of you have an email client on your desktop? You have Outlook or something like that that you run on your desktop, not inside a browser. You do? Okay. That's fine. Good for you. I do. I have one in the office. I don't have one in the lab. I don't have one here because I haven't set up Outlook in those locations configured specifically to my email address, my SMTP, etc. If you've ever done that, back in the day, some of you might have done that. Today, people use webmail. They use Gmail. They use Yahoo Mail. They use Outlook for the web, which is what the college has. And because they use webmail, this won't work because it seeks to open a desktop mail program. So you can try it out. You can go to Tamara's house. It'll work there, and in my office. It'll open up Outlook right away for me. Tamara, what do you use as your email client? Gmail? Now, that's not a desktop client. That's a webmail. Yeah, so you don't have one. You go into a browser to do mail, right? That's webmail. So what? Nope, that's another webmail. You go into a browser to use it. Very few people have desktop email these days. I can't show you now because I don't have it installed here, but you have an installed program that does mail. It doesn't open up a browser. I don't need Chrome open. I don't need Firefox open. You know how you open up Microsoft Word and it's a program and it runs and I don't need a browser? There's a program that you run. That's another webmail. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of them, and they were very popular, but they aren't anymore. So we don't do this so much. If I ask you to do it, I'm just getting you to practice it, but it's really fallen quite out of favor. Okay. All right, the last topic then that I have to cover for you is tips for success. You have questions, Sierra? On what I just deleted? A slide? Okay. The slide here. This is the anchor tag here. This is the closing anchor. This is the information in between that's underlined in blue. This is how we make all the tags. We start with an opening angle iron, and we close right here. See that? Then here is the closing tag right there. Okay. Brain cramp. All right. Tips for success on assignments. By the way, every time I say your name, the closed captioning software calls you something different. Drives me crazy. I have to stop saying your name. Can't get it. It puts like CEE or SEE. I must eat the end of your name. All right. Tips for success on assignments. Run the HTML validators. We talked about this previously. This slide has 2 validation tools available on the web. You upload your HTML code to one of these 2. You click like a run button. It comes back with the errors that it sees. Sometimes the errors will be incorrect in that they're not really errors. Sorry. Sometimes you will have errors it didn't find. Sometimes it will find an error and give you a message about it that doesn't make any sense. But it's still a good exercise. When you're a new user, this is a great exercise. So what you want to do is use one of these validators, make it a habit, so that by the time we get to the first test in week 4, you know the URL for the validator, you know what to expect from its output. It can really be a help on a test when your nerves hit. So use the validators. That's my first tip to you. Right. My next tip. Open one HTML file at a time. I find when students have 5 copies of Notepad open, they're confused. I'm just telling you what I notice in the lab. They have 5 open, they don't know which one they're in, they don't know where they did, they don't know which one they saved. I recommend one at a time. It'll take you a bit longer, but the confusion that I see resulting from opening too many windows, I think, is wasting more time than you realize, right? Open Windows Explorer. You can see the path and file names. Too often students don't remember that they named the images folder with an S on the end. Maybe they misspelled the word image and they're trying for all their worth to spell it correctly to match. So if you have Windows Explorer open, like I have here, I can see the folder names, I can see the file names. In Windows Explorer, show file extensions. We looked at this the first day. In Windows Explorer, if you go to View, make sure the file name extensions checkbox is checked. Right now you can see .ico, .jpg. If I uncheck that, I can't see it. So then I'm confused. Is that a .jpg, a .gif? You need to have that on at all times on the computer you're sitting at. Also, if you've misnamed a file, say with 2 .html extensions or a .html.txt, you will see it and you can correct it. Right? Never rename files while you have them open in Notepad. Windows Explorer will allow you to do this, but if you do this, the changes that you've made in Notepad will be lost. So you'll think it's all good when it's not. Right. When the results, in other words, what you're seeing on the screen, are not what you are sure you have in the HTML code, use View Source in the browser. So let's say that we open the index. I'm going to go ahead and open it in Chrome. I've zoomed way in. I'm going to zoom out. Right, I'm going to go open that in Notepad and make a change. Learning to create web pages in 2018. Then I come back here and I refresh. And I say, I know I just typed in 2018. I didn't say. So you're all watching me, so you understand. But if you're positive you have this right, because I find students very persuaded they have it right, if you right-click and view the source, you will see it's not here. And then your assumption has to be either that's not the file I was working on a minute ago, or I didn't save it. Of course, you all watched me and you know I didn't save it. Okay? If you follow the hint about opening only one file, you're not going to have that trouble about it's not the file I was working on. Okay? All right, one last thing. Never, ever make multiple copies of the root folder you are working on. I will find students who have made a backup copy, they'll tell me, of what they were working on. So they don't destroy what they're working on now. But the problem is they don't know which one they're in at any given point in Notepad. So they might be changing what's in the backup, or they might be changing what's in the folder. So one folder. Now, you can copy that folder to your flash drive. You can zip it and put it in the cloud if you'd like. But just one folder is really all you need. When I walk up to someone who's having trouble and I see 4 or 5 copies of the root folder, I'm very concerned. And I will say, which one are you on? And they will tell me, but invariably we find there's much confusion about which one they're working on. So just make one. My last thing is a preference that I have, which is contrary to Mr. Wiggins. And that is, do not store folders and files on the desktop. This is a preference. And his preference is exactly the opposite. And so what I tell students when they say, how am I going to resolve your preference with his? Well, that's easy. When you're working on his stuff, you can put it on the desktop. And when you're working on my stuff, don't. And that is just because I have found students struggle with the desktop over the years. I just have. So I've said, let's stop doing it. He feels just the opposite. We can have a great argument about how he feels it's the perfect place to store. I'm like, not having it. So if I come up and you have everything on the desktop, I'm going to invariably say, are you sure you want to keep that on the desktop? Because I think it's a bad place. And what you should say is not, I am sure. What should you say, Tamika? What a great suggestion. I didn't mean to put it on the desktop, Mrs. Weldon. Thank you. I'm moving it even as we speak. Because when I come and I give you a suggestion, I really meant for you to do it. Do you have children? When you say, it'd be great if you picked up your clothes, what do you really think they're going to do? Well, what do you really hope they're going to do? Pick up the clothes. Could have phrased it, go pick up your clothes, but you were trying to be polite. So you said, it would be lovely if you picked up your clothes. I had one son who would say, but I'm not going to. The lovely child. All right. Those are my tips for success. And the last one, I didn't really put it on there, but I mentioned it. Let me look at it with you and let me try to help you solve problems. And Mr. Armstrong is also good at this, and he's in at night for those of you who need it. And Mr. King hates HTML as much as I hate IP addressing and all that nonsense. And Mr. Wiggins fancies himself good at everything, so he will try to give you help, and it may or may not be useful help. But he's a lovely talky guy, right? All right, that's all we got. We've basically finished Chapter 2, and it was torturous, but we got it done. What's Monday? So you have the day off. Because I'm out of town, I won't be feverishly grading, but you do have the day off. That means everything's shut down. My understanding is the campus is locked that day, too. It's not just no classes. So no class Monday. We'll start CSS next week. Oh, okay. All right. Off you go.